Trisha from Tribe to Village. This is our tribe, our village, our family. Thank you for joining me today. And today I'll be sharing my unexpected and complicated delivery experience. I recently had a baby, the cutest little boy ever. And we'll just start from my last appointment. Okay, so he came early, so I went to my last OB appointment and I thought it was going to be quick. I left work, went there, got there early. I was hangry. If you know anything about being hungry and pregnant at the same time, it is not for the faint of heart. So I got to the doctor's office hangry and I was like, "Hi everybody, I can't wait to get out of here so I could eat. So let's make this quick." And they're like, "Well, baby's almost here, so we're just gonna hook you up to the monitor for about 20 to 30 minutes." And I was like, 20 to 30 minutes? I have to be here that long? I thought this was just going to be 5 minutes. And they said, no, it's a precaution. They have to make sure everything is good with the baby's heart rate since we're so close to delivering. And also they were afraid the baby would be too big. The baby didn't turn out anywhere near where they were expected, but that's for another video. So they hooked me up, and long story short, my doctor comes in after some time has passed, and she comes in and she's like, "Oh, this baby's moving a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, because he's hungry." He's probably like, "Where's the food?" And usually, like, she entertained my corny jokes, but she wasn't. She just got quiet and she was like, "Oh, okay." And then she left. And then in about like 10 minutes later, she comes back in and her face is pale. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I highly recommend that you go to the hospital right now." And I said, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "The baby's heart rate is falling after each contraction," which was news to me because I didn't even know I was having contractions at that point. Like, I thought I was just gonna be in and out, felt fine and everything. She was like, "Baby's heart rate is falling after each contraction, but it's recovering, so which is good, but we just need to monitor it longer, and we don't have that capacity here to monitor you for that long." And I was like, "Okay, so you just need to extend the monitoring. So can I go get something to eat?" And then she's like, "No." She's like, "No, don't go straight to the hospital because I wouldn't want you to give birth to a dead baby." And I was just like, that took me aback for a little bit, and then I just went blank, and then it was pretty much hard for me to process anything after that point. So I got into my car, drove to the hospital, didn't have a hospital bag or anything because, like I said, I didn't expect to give birth or go to the hospital at this point. I thought it was going to be an in and out appointment. So I go to the hospital, I call who I needed to call to let them know that I was there. And I get there and I'm just anticipating being hooked up to the monitor just for like a few more hours, right? So long story short, the doctor comes back and she's like, "We can't let you go home. The baby, his heart rate is dropping after each contraction. However, there are periods of time where he recovers and everything is well, but then there are still random times where his heart rate will drop after a contraction." And they said it might be the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, or he was pushing up against the umbilical cord after each contraction. But they said they cannot allow me to go home given how far along I was. I was 39 weeks on that day. And so basically they admitted me, and I called my husband and I was just so tuned out. And then I knew everything was going downhill. I know when I had to get the epidural, the contractions were, you see, I didn't even know I was having contractions, but when they told me I was having contractions, that's when I started feeling the contraction pains, okay? So I knew things were gonna be different with this birth. I have 2 other kids. Different with this birth, when they went to give me the epidural, they had to try three times to get it in. And the first time it didn't work, and I'm just like, okay. And then they said they have to go in again, and I was like, again? With my other two kids, I only had epidural went in on the first try. So I was like, okay, I could either freak out or I could just pray. So I was just there and I was praying and praying. They put it in the second time, it didn't work. I was praying a little harder. And then I'm like, if it doesn't work this time, then that's it. I'm just gonna do it without. But thankfully it went through on the third time. So after that, I just had this overwhelming sense, like I have to continue praying, and I have to just play, like, gospel music. Like, I had to be surrounded by God. God is always around us, but I just had to really, like, feel that, to put it everywhere. And I've never had such an overwhelming feeling. So my husband was also there, and he was praying and all of that. And he was also, like, keeping in touch with the outside world, because I was so out of it. And long story short, they gave me Pitocin to speed up the contractions, and he came out. My baby came out, and I felt everything. I mean, I had the epidural, but I felt I felt the sensation and the pain of each contraction as he was coming down. And when he came out, they put him on me. He was pitch black. My baby was pitch black, like my shirt, pitch black and unresponsive. It was just like his limp body was just placed on me. And everything happened like in a matter of seconds, but the seconds felt like hours. And when they placed his limp body on me, I looked at him, I looked at my husband. My husband's face was blank, like pale. And then they rushed him to the back. And then so I'm there, and my brain is like, no, no, he's not dead, he's not dead. And then, thank God, we hear a cry. We hear a cry, and my baby is alive. Let me tell you, that was stress like no other. I can't even explain. um and and still, we couldn't even hold him for long, because they had to whisk him off, because they said his stomach was too big, this was a problem, that was a problem. And they had to run all these tests to see if he had to be admitted to the NICU. And in that meantime, we couldn't see him. And by the grace of God, everything that they tested him for, he cleared, and he was healthy. And to this day, he's a healthy and thriving baby. Thank you, God. And I honestly think it was the prayers. I think it was the prayers and just leaning on God. And that's what this experience has taught me, how important it is during the chaotic times, during the scary times, the uncertain times, to hold on to something bigger than you, to hold on to your spirituality, whatever that is for you. For me, it's God. And to holding on to God through prayer, or songs, music, meditation, whatever it is, just holding on to God was very grounding and soothing for me. It allowed me to have some type of sanity during that terrifying time. My experience also allowed me to empathize with mothers of stillborn who give birth to stillborns. I see you, I feel you, and that is to recover from that. I know how difficult, I could imagine how difficult that will be, because for me, for that moment when I thought he wasn't alive, my heart sunk to like a level where I couldn't even find it for that quick second. So I'm definitely keeping you all in my heart, and for healing with that. And also, this experience has shown me how important it is to have a support system with you. Anyone, whether it's, your partner, your romantic partner, a family member, a friend, just to have someone there makes a world of a difference. First of all, you probably won't even be all the way there to, to keep everyone updated. So that person could keep you connected to the outside world, the world outside the hospital. And then also they can advocate for you. You know, I'm sure like you can advocate for yourself, but when you're on the epidural, or you're just trying to focus on your breathing or whatever issues with the delivery, with the labor, it's a lot. So to have someone advocate for you is a big deal. And I don't care what they say. I know the hospital staff will pay a little more attention to someone who has like someone there with them, as opposed to just the patient themselves, you know? So that's also important. And I'm just like, just beyond grateful. This experience has taught me to not take anything for granted. I got to that doctor's office like, yeah, let me just get this over with so I could go get something to eat. But it's so, looking back at it, like I can't take for granted having access to health care. I can't take for granted having an OB who was able to, like, you know, encourage me to go there right away. To can't take for granted having a car, or for being in close proximity to the hospital, or all of that. I can't take for granted the life of my child, who we thought we almost lost, you know? I can't take for granted the role of my faith to in getting me through this experience. And and that's another thing, you know, in life there's gonna be those scary moments, those overwhelming moments. Did I say terrifying? Terrifying moments. But those moments could still lead to great joy. It could still lead, God could still take those moments and turn it around. And you feel like you're going through it, and it seems so heavy and hard. But at the end of it, there could be like that sunshine, rainbow, great joy, happiness. And in my case, our baby. And so to just, for me to just keep that in mind, and every time I look at him, I think about all of that, and especially of God's grace. So well, let me stop before I could talk about this forever and ever. But thank you so much for listening to my unexpected, crazy birthing story. And we are so grateful that it turned out in a way that we wanted it to turn out. That is not lost to us. So we're so grateful for that. And so let's just continue to elevate and grow together. And have you had a kind of crazy birthing experience, or know of someone who had an unexpected birthing experience? Share it in the comments. I would love to like read about it. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. Let's build and grow this community. Until next time, bye.